Hi everybody, how y'all doing today? Welcome back to my channel. This is a quick tutorial of how to connect your system fan to your motherboard. Now, I had got a question yesterday from Corey. Let me pull that up. I got a question yesterday from Corey R, and he wants to know because he bought the Deep Cool Matrix 30, which automatically comes with a 120 millimeter case fan in the back. The RPM on that is 1200 RPM, which is good for airflow and everything. So now, a lot of people don't really like buying the Deep Cool Matrix 30 because it do not have a PSU shroud to hide your power cables when you try to do your cable management. Now, the best thing I recommend if you're using a non-modular power supply is go ahead on and tie down the cables you're not using, and just go ahead and use the ones that you are using. Just route them to the back, then tie them down from the back of the case. But the ones you're not using, you go ahead and tie them down, tuck them neatly in that little shroud area located by the hard drive and the PSU, and everything be fine. How do I know this? Because I did a build um, of this case for my grandson build, and it's a great case. Um, I have no issues with it. I did this as I just said. The cables I was not using, the extra cables, I went ahead on and zip tied those down neatly and just tucked them right there in the middle of the case. It's all black. The PSU I'm using is the RS Game 580 plus bronze power supply, so everything's good. Now he wants to know, how do I connect the fan to my motherboard? To those who's coming into building their PCs for the first time, buying a simple case that fit their needs, whether it's a ATX, mid tower micro ATX, or mini ITX, this will help y'all out a lot. Now, a lot of people don't know how to connect the system fans to it. I had one person asked me on YouTube when I brought my Roswell Spectra C 100, how do I go ahead on and have the fans lit up? It's simple. You hook the fan hub to the system fan, and then all your fans will light up, and then they get regulated. Now those Roswell Spectra C100 are 1500 RPM fans. So, but let's get into this. Now the motherboard of his choice was a Gigabyte GA A320 S2H. Now let's get into that. Now, as you know, I have pulled up all the manual and everything, so I'm going directly into the manual. And here we go. This is one reason why I tell a lot of people, if you don't know anything, always refer to your motherboard manual by going to the website, whatever motherboard you have, whether it's an ASRock, ASUS, ECS, Gigabyte, MSI, etc. Always refer to your motherboard manual. There's nothing wrong with reading. That's the best thing that'll help you out a lot when building your PCs. Or you can just go ahead and watch tutorials on YouTube. Now, your system fan header is right there. You only get one system fan header. So if you're using one case fan, you hook that case fan into that system fan header right there. Now, if you're using multiple fans for your PC, if you have about 5 fans and you only have one system fan controller, it is best to go ahead on and buy a system fan header hub. I have one. I bought a 5 pin, so it operates the CPU and 4 system fans on that the fan controller hub. The fan controller hub, as well as your system fan, goes right into your system fan connect. Now, this is the manual. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull up the actual product of the motherboard. Okay, this is the product of the motherboard right here. Your system fan is located right there. You can on that you can it's off from the bottom some cooler CPU cooler fan bracket on the lower bottom one. So you just go right over and you see a sign says to say SYS hyphen FAN1. You only get one system fan controller hub for the A300 motherboards. This is the GA8320M S2H. You only get one system fan controller for this motherboard. Now, if you want to operate multiple fans, say for instance, your case holds about 5 fans, 2 up front, 2 up top, 1 in the back, and you go ahead and you get you some Be Quiet, a 5 pack, and then you want to go ahead and change everything because you like the RPM airflow on the Be Quiet some 120 millimeter fans. So to do that, you go ahead and you buy your system fan controller hub and you connect all 5 fans up to it. Mount it comes with adhesive tape to the back, so you can mount the system fan controller hub anywhere. It's best to mount it in the back of the case. Do your cable management right and everything good. That's mostly where I spend a lot of my time at, is answering a lot of questions from consumers that buy these parts that I recommend in my channel, and they wants to go know more foot details about it, so they buy it. They'll know how to do this here, or this is not working. What should I do? So I do a lot of answering questions, all for Amazon, so I can go ahead and get the consumers going into the right path and the right direction, and try to go ahead and complete their system build the best they can, and they could be happy with what they built and go ahead on and game on. Now, just like with any motherboard, it's the same thing. If you go ahead on and you buy the X570, same thing. Now with the X570 model, it comes with ARGB header, so it is the same thing. I'm going with the Gigabyte here, the X570 Aros Gaming. It's the same thing. The same thing. Now in this case scenario here, I spotted my system fan. Now you get 2 fans, and if you don't know where them fans at, they're right here. Here's your LEDs for the CPU. So that's your pin, your ARGB pin header, and your system fan is right there, located to the LED CPU header. Same thing with the board. Now you may get some system fan headers located to the bottom, or you may get some system fan headers located to the top of the motherboard. Here you got your CPU option. Now these LED system leads, fan system leads here are for your AIO pump and your AIO fan controller. So those directly for your pump. Here's another system fan controller located by the power supply. So it all depends on where your system fans are located at. So just like I said, here's your RGB, your 12 volts, and your 5-volt pin header in the corner there. So you got now this board here with the X570 Aros. It comes with 2 system fan headers, one by the LED CPU, and one located by the CPU 8-pin power connect. So just like I said, I do a lot of answering questions on Amazon. Sometimes I answer questions on my YouTube page. I welcome to Ron's World. Y'all go ahead and y'all check my page out. It's just a great page. Simple, easy, basic tutorials of how you could go ahead on and do your PCs. Now keep in mind, I'm not monetized, so I'm looking forward to doing my first sponsor for one of these wonderful manufacturers. But once I get to that subscription level with the 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 watch time, then I could go ahead and take off with my webpage and my channel and etc. And also I could go ahead and come up with my merchandise brand, my coffee mugs, as well as my shirts too. So that's my next stage I am working on. But just like I said, I do a lot of answers for YouTube. That's why I spend about 5 to 30 minutes answering everybody's questions on Amazon. And if you have any questions, etc., I would love to go ahead and answer those too. Just trust my intellect, and if you trust my intellect, I can go ahead and believe in you as my viewer. So other than that, everything is great. Same thing with computer cases. A lot of people don't know how to pop the front panel off. Just like I told them, underneath the case, there's a little cutout. You put your hand in and you gently tug on the front panel, and that automatically pop out. If you want to know anything about ARGBs fans, like Corsairs or just simple fans, if your motherboard don't have any ARGB header or etc., or if you want to go ahead and get the Corsair brands, the Leon Lee, you can go ahead on and connect the controller hub into the USB port. You can download their software. They can go ahead and take off with it. I mean, every consumer has their own product they like to buy. Like me, for instance, I have my own product I like to buy. I know everybody is frugal, budget friendly. That's what a frugal shop is. Find a good deal on everything. Not trying to just go over the bang for the buck. Just keep everything in perspective, just like me. So, by me saying that, there I buy a lot of stuff that is just basically budget friendly. And you could go ahead and build a nice, good PC on a budget. If I have a $900 I want to spend on my PC parts, I go ahead and pick my PC parts, and I'm up and fired. I'm good to go. So I just want to go ahead on and give y'all a little quick tutorial. I answered Corey Ara. I answered his question, and he was pretty satisfied. He gave me the specs of the motherboard. Just like I really tell everybody, before you build, choose your motherboard. Go to the just like I said, go to the support, and from the support you're gonna go to the manuals. Either you looking for a certain CPU to support, then you go ahead and do that. Now, if you do buy this motherboard, keep in mind you have to update your BIOS. Regardless, the only way you could do that there is by going to eBay, buying one of the low-end APUs, such as the if I could find them, give me a second here. The Anthlons 320G, the Anthlon 300, etc. on down. You got your A12, all the A12 9800, the A12 9800E, the A10, all the way down to the A6 9500. All those are your APUs. And to update the BIOS, you have to update. You have to use one of these APUs, so you go ahead and get a post screen. Now, if you're messing around and buy the Ryzen 3 1200, if it's a Pinnacle Ridge, it's not going to fire up. It's going to fire up only on Summit Ridge only. And the best way that y'all can know how to do that there is by using PC Part Picker. Some people know how to use it, some people don't. But I'm going to go ahead on and get right into that with y'all right now. Yeah, I have my VPN up, so I got to go through this all the time while I'm going head on and before I load up anything. So now it's redirecting me. So now this is what also helped me out a lot, so I know what CPUs are APUs and what is not. Now I know I did when I started off my channel. I was doing a lot of system build lists using the Ryzen 5 3600 because I thought there was APU that had the GPU, the iGPU built inside the processor, so but it wasn't. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pick that motherboard. Just go ahead on and give you a good idea of what I'm talking about here. This is one reason I tell everybody, when you buy your motherboard, always update your BIOS, because you might want to upgrade later on down the line, and your BIOS is already upgraded. So let's go ahead and get into that right quick so I can close this video out. Okay, where is Lord have mercy? Oh Lord, I'm doing the wrong thing. Excuse me, I don't have my glasses on, so y'all bear with me on that there. There we go, chipsets. The A320. Go up to got gigabyte. This is the motherboard he owns, so it says it's $60. Great motherboard. Goes up to 32 gigabyte of RAM. Now, keep in mind when it said compatibility, when it said no issues found, you good to go with your parts. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a good example of what I'm talking about here. Sort through prices. Now, if I want to go ahead on and use this CPU to update my BIOS, I'm gonna go ahead and add it to the cart. Now here it says there's an issue with it because I got a red line. I'm gonna click on details. It say this gigabyte A320S2H microset supports the AMD dual core processor, but except for F40, F41. If the motherboard is using the older BIOS version, upgrading the BIOS will be necessary to support the CPU. Okay, so that's not really helping me. So anytime you get a red line like this, that means that the CPU is not compatible with the motherboard and you have to update the BIOS. Alrighty. Now, some motherboards come on fine, some motherboards you have to update. Same thing again. The A10 9700 quad core, which is 4 cores, 4 threads, but except for F40 and F41, if the motherboard is using an older version, upgrading the BIOS will be necessary to support the CPU. That's what I'm talking about right there with this motherboard. Now I'm gonna go try another motherboard because I'm on the Asus A320, so I'm gonna try that motherboard, and y'all gonna go ahead and get the whole good clip picture here. You know what? I'm gonna use this MSI. I'm gonna add that to the cart. Bam. No issues found. Now see, you need to use an APU to update your BIOS if you want to use later processors from a TISI, Pinnacle, etc. Now, if you don't know what the APU is, I'll go ahead and I'll show it to you. It's right here on the side where it say the AMD Ryzen Radeon Vega 8. See, integrated graphics, Radeon 5, Radeon Vega 3, Radeon 7. Now, here is a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and add the Ryzen 5 1600, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. This is good to go. There's no issues with this motherboard because you get a green light. That means this processor is compatible because it's Zen 1. And Zen 2 is the Ryzen 3600, etc. This is basically their first platform that they came out with, and everything was good and dandy. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the Ryzen 5 3600 up on there. And this motherboard good. So basically MSI motherboards are pretty good to use. This is why a lot of people use MSI because you don't have to really update the BIOS unless you go ahead and crank on with the Ryzen 7s or the Ryzen 9s for this motherboard. Other than that, let me just go ahead and clear this motherboard out. Let me go ahead and use the Asus motherboard. You're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Chipset. Let's go to where we at? A320. Okay, that's the Asus. That's what I'm on right there. Great motherboard, by the way. Now I'm going to choose the CPU, the Ryzen 5 3600. Bam. There we go. It says the Asus Prime A320MK Micro ATX AM4 motherboard supports the AMD Ryzen 5 3600 6-core 12-thread processor. The BIOS version is already set to 4801. The BIOS version for this board to operate all Matisse CPUs is 5603. I know because I updated the BIOS using using the Ryzen 9 correction, the A12 9800 processor APU. That's what I'm saying. I bought that APU at $60. I could have probably got it cheaper than that. I should have shopped around for it, but I didn't. And let's go check the APU. And I'm gonna go scroll down. There we go. That's I could use that as well. It's not an issue. But notice I will not pay no $335 for an old CPU. It's best to go off eBay to get them. They're very quality, so you can't go wrong with that. Boom, I got a green. Anytime you see this green bar here, that's good to go. So, just like I said before, I do a lot of answering on Amazon's. Everybody asks me their questions, I go ahead and answer it for them, and they mostly happy for them. So I'll probably answer about at least 1,500 questions on Amazon. Just like I said, if I'm not talking about tech, I'm helping other people with their problems on Amazon, etc., with their PC parts, etc., as well. So I want to go ahead on and thank y'all for watching this video here I'm doing about how to go ahead on and locate your system fans, how to go ahead on and what processor to use to update your motherboard, etc. Other than that, once you go ahead on, and it's best to go ahead and use PC Part Picker. I'll be putting that down in the description below because this will help me out understanding what CPUs are not APUs and what APUs to use to go ahead and get a post screen and go ahead and update your BIOS. Now, if you're using the B550 motherboards, only thing I had to do is just go to the go back to Gigabyte because I have that up when it say downloads, and you're gonna go to. Best to go ahead and put your Windows 10 in there, and you're gonna go ahead on and find your BIOS. Once you find your BIOS, then you're all good to go, and you can't go wrong with that. Just like I said, I want to thank y'all for watching this quick video. Subscribe to my channel, and I got many more great videos coming your way. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.